Welcome to the Happiness Matters podcast, where we'll explore happiness at work and show you how to coach yourself to be happier there and more successful too, no matter what.
Welcome to episode 2 in our first series of defining and assessing your happiness at work. I'm Julia Seal, and today we're talking about your happiness journey and playing the snakes and ladder game of your life. In this episode, we're going to be building on from last week's coaching, where we explored how you can easily assess your own happiness and success at work using the happiness ladder. And I also shared with you a variety of definitions of happiness from around the world and through history. This week, we're now going to further expand and clarify your own definition of happy and successful at work, no matter what. And I'm going to share with you another unique tool I use with my clients at this stage of the coaching journey, a happiness journey map, a picture of your life to date. Just a note, if you missed last week's podcast or any previous episode in the series, don't worry. You'll find enough in today's session to be able to start coaching yourself. You can always go back and listen to previous issues or just join us in our Facebook group. To go with today's podcast, I've created a second free worksheet for you to download as part of these first steps on your happiness journey with us. This is an add-on to last week's happiness ladder, and it's called The Game of Life. As I said, it's a creative tool I love using with our clients. You can get this by going to our website, Happiness-Matters.coach/free. And if you missed last week's happiness ladder, you'll also find it there. Let's go back to last week and what you learned about your own happiness from using the happiness ladder, and those 3 reasons why you chose that number. We assessed your in-the-moment happiness using my adapted version of Dr. Cantrell's self-anchoring ladder of life satisfaction, the happiness ladder, and explored some reasons for why you chose that particular rung on the ladder, what you included and excluded in your definition. So let's think about it. What else has come up for you since then? Has anything about your definition changed after thinking about what Aristotle or Thomas Jefferson or the Dalai Lama believe about the pursuit of happiness? What we've all been doing in our lives is exploring, studying, pursuing a happiness that fits to our own definitions. But now I want to ask you, how much are they really our own definitions? What I mean by this is how much have you thought about what you define as your happiness and your happiness at work? How intentional are your definitions? How much have you taken on from around you, from your peers, from society, and from the media? So this is what we're doing today, just questioning what our views, our beliefs about happiness and success in our lives, and where they might come from. Think about this. We're told endlessly in the media that we should be happy. Bobby McFerrin sings, "Don't worry, be happy." I told you last week I wasn't going to sing for you. I do mean it. In 2014, the most successful song was Pharrell Williams singing Happy for the Despicable Me 2 movie, which actually was the inspiration for us choosing our Africa Happy podcast music. Coca-Cola tells us to choose happiness with their 2015 campaign using the rap song, "What Are You Waiting For?" We look at others with jobs different to ours and question if they'd make us happy. People with dream jobs, and ask ourselves, how can they not be happy? I think particularly of Robin Williams, such a special and loved comedian who entertained us for years with happiness and laughter. Remember Mork and Mindy? And do you remember Nanu Nanu Shazbot and Mrs. Doubtfire? But Robin so sadly committed suicide back in 2014. We might look at the less exciting jobs and just assume we'd never be happy doing those. And yet you've probably all heard of the story of US President John F. Kennedy visiting NASA ahead of the Apollo missions. He met a janitor mopping the floor, and when JFK asked him what he did, he said, "I'm putting a man on the moon." Even the women of Africa wear beautiful skirts printed in proverbial happiness wisdom. Kangas in Zanzibar, Chitenji in Malawi and Zambia, my home country, or Kakoi in Kenya, say things like, "Life is the best gift, the rest is extra," or "The world is walking around," or even "Work is everything." Of course, as I'm talking, you might well be thinking, "But Julia, I know exactly what will make me happier right now, tomorrow. Buying that new Tesla, getting that promotion, winning the lottery, or getting a resignation from your most difficult employee." But really what many of us are doing are adopting general ideas of happiness and of how happy we should be at work. Other people's ideas, or media-inspired ideas of what is going to make us happier. And this can leave us on the bottom rungs of the happiness ladder, trying to step up, working hard to step up, but never finding that elusive 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 happy at work. What we're really after in coaching is your definition of happiness, a definition that is uniquely yours. And to uncover some of your beliefs about happiness, we're going to play a game with your life. We're going to turn from this theory and look at what it all means in your own life. Let's look at how you've been pursuing happiness and where it's got you, and why you're even listening to me on a podcast about being happy and successful at work, no matter what. We're going to take a look at your life journey, your own happiness journey so far, and we're going to plot it using my Journey of Life game. So grab your freebie download if you haven't already got it. This is a game of snakes and ladders. No, I haven't completely lost it. It's a fun snapshot of your life so far, your happiness journey to date, and something I use with many of my clients when we look at their past and all the things that have got them to where they are today. So snakes and ladders, do you know it? If you're listening in from North America, you might well know the game by the name Chutes and Ladders. But if you've never heard of it, don't worry. I'm going to explain it now, and then you can use the download to create your own. Snakes and Ladders is actually an ancient Indian board game that focused on moral lessons of good and bad deeds and their consequences. It even appears in the Tibetan Book of Rebirth. This ancient game intended to show us the duality inherent in our world. Black versus white, yin versus yang, good versus bad, and happy versus unhappy, successful versus unsuccessful. As Salman Rushdie says in his book Midnight's Children, the game captures the eternal truth that for every ladder you hope to climb, a snake is waiting just around the corner, and for every snake, a ladder will compensate. But it's more than that, no mere carrot and stick affair, because implicit in the game is the unchanging two-ness of things, the duality of up against down and good against evil. The board game was taken to Britain in Victorian times and became a worldwide classic, mostly played by children. Bear with me if you know the game, but I'd like to explain it to those who don't. Briefly, it's played on a board of numbered squares that you move along with dice. Along the way, you encounter a ladder or a snake. So a ladder takes you further along the board to winning, and a snake takes you backwards and hinders your progress. And that's basically it. When I was researching the history of the game, I discovered that there's even a version played by SpongeBob SquarePants. believe this, known as eels and escalators. Squirrel moment. Talking of squirrel moments, did you watch the 2009 movie Up? Well, if you haven't, here's a little laugh. Doug the talking dog, or Doug the unconditional love dog, I have just met you and I love you dog, has a special collar that enables him to talk to humans, and he's very capable of great conversation. The only problem is that he gets distracted whenever he sees a squirrel. I find it hilarious and it makes me smile every time. Now, I can't play it for you here due to copyright issues. So in the show notes, I'll include a link to a YouTube video for you that's too funny. It's just a cut clip of Doug's squirrel moment. And if you keep pressing 6 on your keyboard, you can hear Doug's squirrel moment over and over and over again. The small things that amuse us. So now we're going to play the snakes and ladders game of your own life and the pursuit of happiness in your life and at work. So the game board of checkered squares is your life, and it tracks your life step by step. Along the way, you experience snakes and ladders. Ladders are the positive things, the things that have taken you further in life and moved you forward, and the snakes are the things that have been negative in your life and moved you backwards. As a child, I really loved this game, but I used to sulk when I didn't win. And I can remember my mother saying, sometimes you have to lose, or sometimes other people win, and you just have to accept it, even if you don't like it. How's that for a life lesson? So if I was playing the game of my life's happiness, I might go through my life with ladders, like getting my Girl Guide badges, going to boarding school at 14, getting my first job in South Africa, qualifying as a coach, taking you on as a client. Snakes, my father's death, my own divorce, buying my beautiful new VW car with a factory fault engine. Now it's your turn. Plot yourself on the path, the journey of your life now, somewhere in the middle of your life perhaps. You assessed yourself on the happiness ladder as a 4, maybe. Write that there. And then take your 3 reasons and plot those. Were they snakes or were they ladders? You'll notice that some of my reasons from the happiness ladder, such as the stuffy office, don't look that important, perhaps not really even a snake. But this is the secret. If you use the happiness ladder on a regular basis, you will start to see the themes of your life, the things that really make a difference to your overall happiness in your life going up and going down. So the more you use the in-the-moment assessment tool, the happiness ladder, the more you'll get a sense of what were really snakes and what were ladders when you look at your life as a whole. Now your end point is completely up to you. The journey could be your whole life, or it could be the whole of your working life, where the end of the game is your retirement. Or it could be that you want endgame to be 10 out of 10 happy and successful at work, or that new job you have your eye on. It's up to you as you play the game and think back on your life's milestones. I'd like to take you one step further and choose 5 top things of your working life so far. 5 positive things, ladders, and 5 negative things, snakes. And plot those in. Do you get the idea? You can take this offline and do the work of your whole life. This is the kind of work I do in session with my clients in order to review their past and how they view the big events in their lives. Are they positive or are they negative? You could spend the next 20 minutes after this podcast to think about your whole life so far, or your entire career, and work your way along the board game with its ladders and its snakes. So how was that for you? Combining your insights from the happiness ladder and adding it into the coaching you're doing on your happiness journey and the snakes and ladder milestones of your life. What has today's coaching shown you about your beliefs about happiness, about what's positive and negative in your life? What does happiness mean to you now? Has anything changed from that first gut number that you chose last week? What we're really after from these 2 sessions is creating a greater awareness around what you call happy and successful at work, giving you some new perspectives on happiness definitions so that you can choose and expand into a definition that is uniquely yours. I'd like you to consider these power questions. Throughout the podcast series, I will be suggesting some powerful coaching questions that you can use to coach yourself. What does happy and successful at work, no matter what, mean to you now? What's in your definition and what's out of your definition? How close are you to it? How far away? And how elusive is it? And how hard are you working on it? How much are you pursuing it? Where are you spending your energy every day? From your past experiences and milestones, what contributed to your happiness and what detracted from it? And lastly, probably most importantly, why have you chosen these definitions to create your version of happiness? So today's coaching expanded the work we started last week with exploring where our ideas for happiness come from. What thoughts and beliefs have we taken over from others, and just asking ourselves if they're still true for us. We then mapped out your life journey, your happiness at work journey, onto a snakes and ladders board game, and finished off with some powerful coaching questions to give you more to think about this week. Now, don't forget to download your free worksheet to support your self-coaching journey. You'll find this on our website and also the show notes with all the links I've used for this topic. And the power coaching questions will also be on the worksheet. Of course, we hope to meet you online on Facebook at Happiness-Matters.coach. I would love to hear about your happiness journey so far and more about how you're viewing the milestones of your life. It would be amazing if you'd post an image of your happiness journey game board too. That would be so much fun. So I'll be in the Facebook group regularly this week to check in with you and answer any questions you have. If you'd like to work on this individually and expand these 2 tools I've shared, you can sign up on our website just by clicking on the yellow button at www.happiness-matters.coach. Thank you again for joining us today as we continue to define and assess our happiness and success at work. Next week's really exciting. We're going to start exploring, where do you want to be? What is your 10 out of 10 happy and successful at work? Or in coaching terminology, what is the goal of your coaching, your point B on this journey? And I'm also going to introduce you to 3 massive ideas that I call wisdom concepts, including the happiness paradox and 50-50. Bye for now from hot and still windy Cape Town.
Thanks for joining us on this Happiness Matters podcast. Do join us again here next week on Tuesday. You can subscribe to this series at Apple Podcasts on iTunes, or you can sign up for it on our website, Happiness-Matters.coach. That's Happiness-Matters.coach. COACH. Also, you can join our conversation on Facebook by following us there. Our Facebook page is also Happiness-Matters.coach.